Hi everyone, welcome to our virtual college exploration for all New Jersey students. Welcome to this session to all our students and families coming in. If you were interested in joining any more sessions throughout these next 2 weeks with our virtual college exploration, there will be sessions available on the NJACAC website. You'll see all the different options throughout the week. And if you were unable to attend any that you really wanted to see, no worries. These are all being recorded and will be added to our website. So you can check that out at njACAC.org/virtual-fair. And a good heads up to note is that your camera and microphone are off. So the panelists cannot see or hear you. So if you have any questions, you can actually use the Q&A feature to ask your questions and they will be able to answer those at that time. Now I will give it away to our panelists.
Great, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. You are in a panel presentation for STEM majors at your local New Jersey state institutions. So you are joined here today by the New Jersey Institute of Technology. We have Rowan University, we have Rutgers University, New Brunswick, and we also have the College of New Jersey. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with having each of the schools just give a quick blurb. We're not gonna go into too much detail since we know we all have information sessions as well. We're gonna do some panel questions and then we're gonna open it up to live Q&A after that. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna go alphabetically. So why don't we go ahead and start with NJIT.
Hi, my name is Debbie Gabadon. I am just going to do a brief video to give you general information about NJIT.
When I think back to all I have accomplished, when I reflect on the relationships and connections I've made, one thing always comes to mind. I owe it all to my time at New Jersey Institute of Technology. At NJIT, you can become a trailblazer, a visionary, or the next great leader. Where do you see yourself? NJIT will get you there. As a top-ranked public research university, you will be immersed in an innovative environment that promotes cutting-edge research. Classes taught by expert professors, and graduate with the technology skills needed to excel in the most in-demand careers. Expand your horizons by taking advantage of the extensive internship opportunities, opening up a world of possibilities, gaining hands-on experience, and preparing you for your future. Here at NJIT, you will get more than a world-class education. You will join a close-knit, diverse community just 8 miles outside of New York City. With technology as our foundation, a vibrant campus with hundreds of organizations, Division I sports, and access to a world of opportunity, you'll find a home at NJIT. My journey has been unforgettable and the experience, priceless. Your future starts here. New Jersey Institute of Technology, are you ready to join us?
So that covers general information, and then as we go through the questions, I can give you more detailed information about NJIT.
Right, thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to Rowan University.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Sharissa Burgos. I'm one of the assistant directors at Rowan. I've been with Rowan now for 8 years in this capacity, but I'm also a proud alum. So, you know, I am Rowan through and through. Did my undergraduate in business finance, then moved and did my master's in education. It's hard to follow up on a video. I love that video, Debbie. That's great. So if you don't know Rowan, Rowan is located in Glassboro, New Jersey. We started in 1923 as a teacher's preparatory school. So we've evolved so much since then. And if you haven't been into Glassboro recently, it's just incredible how much has changed in the past 10 years. We offer over 74 bachelor's programs, 51 master's programs, and 4 doctoral programs with a lot of STEM programs, which I can't wait to talk about. We're really well known for our engineering program, recently ranked 17th in the country for engineering programs, which is down 2 spots from last year. And we have 2 medical schools, so we're one of 3 universities, 2 medical schools, so naturally we have a lot of students who are interested in the science at the undergraduate level. So yeah, I can't wait to chat with you guys more about Rowan. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and go next for Rutgers University, New Brunswick. So Rutgers, New Brunswick, as you might imagine, we are in New Brunswick. Rutgers does have 2 other campuses as well in Camden and Newark. Sorry for the noise, guys, I have a little Scarlet Knight here with me. For Rutgers, New Brunswick, we're a pretty big place. We have about 36,000 undergraduate students. We are divided into several different academic schools. And one of the things that I think is really neat for our STEM students is you can find a STEM major pretty much in all of them. So we do have our School of Arts and Sciences, where you're going to find our math majors in particular. We also have our computer science major there, which is very, very popular at the moment. Our School of Environmental and Biological Sciences also houses biology, but has a lot of other really cool majors that you maybe might not have thought of. Sorry guys, we're a land-grant institution. So we have things like agriculture, turf management, entomology, things like that. I know it's somewhat of a debate among folks on whether health professions land in the STEM fields or not. We do have both nursing, we have our pre-med fields, we also have a pharmacy major as well. That's a 6-year doctoral program that's direct admit. For our other majors as well, business. I know you may not think of that necessarily as a STEM field, but we do have analysis in there. We have finance, financial analysis, which is a heavily math-focused major. Even in our School of the Arts, Mason Gross, you can find things in terms of design, technology design, web design, things like that. So you're still going to be getting that STEM focus really in any of the programs that you look at. And then lastly, I'd be remiss if I forgot our School of Engineering, 10 different majors there. One of the nice things with engineering is that you can actually come in as undecided. You're going to take kind of a general engineering curriculum and then decide at the end of your first year which one suits you best. So, you know, as we said, we have a lot of questions. I'll kind of leave it there and we can answer the rest as we go, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to TCNJ.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Middleton. I am the Associate Director of Admissions at the College of New Jersey. I'm also an alum of the college. I graduated way back in 2000 from TCNJ. Loved it so much that I never left. So this is actually my 24th year at the school, if you count my 4 years as an undergrad. TCNJ is really well known for our science and engineering programs. We have 5 majors in our School of Science. We have 6 majors in our School of Engineering. And much like Jenna was talking about with Rutgers, we also have an undeclared engineering option. So if you're leaning towards engineering, but not sure exactly which field is the right fit for you, you can get into the school, get an advisor with the school, and start sampling some of those engineering courses to figure out which one is the right one for you. We also offer a STEM option in every one of our education programs. So students who are thinking about majoring in special ed or elementary ed or deaf education, they can take STEM as their academic concentration. That's become a really popular option as more and more districts are looking for teachers with a STEM background. And this gives them an opportunity to really sample a lot of those different areas and tie to an education degree as well. TCNJ has invested a lot of resources in STEM in the last 3 or 4 years. We just opened a $80 million STEM facility. And I'm just gonna share my screen real quick because it's the really nice picture that I want to take full advantage of while I've got you all on here. So let me just put that up there for a second. There it is. So all of our biomedical engineering and civil engineering students, our computer science students, they have this really phenomenal new facility to take advantage of. And then we also just recently renovated our engineering building, our primary engineering building. So it's a really exciting time to be a STEM student on our campus right now. But I'm looking forward to answering questions and providing more information as we move along.
Right, thank you so much, everybody. So let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. So the first thing we're going to start off with is just talking a little bit about preparing for a STEM major. So let's talk a little bit about coursework in particular. Are there specific courses that an aspiring STEM student should focus on while they're in high school? And how do AP or IB or even college courses factor into that? Do we want to go alphabetical again? Maybe we'll start with that.
Sure. Hi. Because we are a specialty school, we always recommend that students take math and science every year. I tell students that it's better to be prepared for opportunities that never come than have opportunities come and not be prepared. Sometimes students are not encouraged to take the additional math classes, but doing that means if it's somewhere along the line you decide that you want to go into a STEM field, you are ready for that. So I definitely recommend taking a math every year, a science every year, even if one year you decide to do, say, like an environmental science class, take a science every year. And if at some point you have an idea of what you like to do, like if you know you want to go into computing and your school offers anything computer related, it's always good to take computer courses. If you have the opportunity, there are some schools where they may not offer an expensive variety of AP courses or IB courses. There are, you can speak to your counselor because there are opportunities for you to take courses at the community college. And the great thing about taking courses at the community college is if it's, as long as it's a college level course that goes towards your major, like a calculus course or physics or chemistry, you just need a C or better. You don't have to then take an AP exam where you have to get 4 points or higher. You take the class C or better and you'll get credit for it. So again, if you're not really sure what area you want to go into, but you kind of think you might want to do something in science and technology, be ready for it. Take a science every year, take a math every year, just in case.
All right, want to move on to Rowan?
Yeah, so Debbie covered really great points there. I did want to mention, I know that some schools, maybe most, are moving to a test optional model. Rowan is. So that really left a lot of questions open for our students who are interested in STEM, some more competitive majors, like moving into our BSMD accelerated program or engineering programs, where, the SAT really did hold a lot of weight. It really helped to speak to their strengths in these certain areas where now they are able to be test optional. So it really is up to the student to figure out at the high school level. And like Debbie said, taking those extra years of math. I know for Rowan, we are looking for 3 units of math, but if you can take that extra year, that is definitely gonna look great. We are gonna be looking at each year individually and seeing how you performed in those math and science courses. So I know every school is different in terms of what they offer at the high school level, but it's also helpful. I've seen some schools who offer like an intro into engineering. So if they have that, hop on that, definitely take that course. And it'll also prepare you for the rigors of, the college engineering program. So that would be my advice.
Right, thank you. I would echo many of the same things. We also are looking for 3 math courses for the majority of our majors, with the exception of some of our engineering where we're looking for 4. We really do also encourage our students to be taking those 4 years, as well as try to be taking the most rigorous courses that your high school is offering. I know, as everyone was saying too, we do understand if your college or high school isn't necessarily offering, that Calc BC. What we're looking for is to see that you've challenged yourself as well. Same thing with science. We are looking for 3 years, highly encouraged to take 4. Similar to everyone else, we will also accept credits for AP. So if you do want to do that, dual credit as well. One of the things that we noticed though, for some of our majors, your college credits may come over slightly different depending on your major. So for example, if you're an engineer versus a math major, for example. So just something to know. We do work with our students on all of those college credit transfers though.
I'm always astonished when I get an engineering application and they're not taking math in their senior year, because I always think, there's gonna be a lot of math in this, right? So yeah, just to reiterate, the 4 years of math for those kind of majors really is vital. And for us with engineering at TCNJ, we're also really looking for calculus or pre-calculus in some capacity. I know for a lot of schools that is the 4th year, but not necessarily. If not, that's okay. And then one other thing I'll add to what's been said before too is that for high schools that maybe don't offer that kind of extensive coursework in engineering, if there's any kind of extracurricular involvement that's related to engineering, whether it's a robotics club or something, some sort of technology related club, while not the equivalent of having the course on the transcript, it at least gives the college some indication that you have some idea of what that curriculum is all about or what the expectations might be at the college level. For a student who's thinking, science or engineering, but then tells us that they're not a big fan of math, that tends to be a pretty big red flag for us. But a lot of times students, I don't think even grasp what engineering in particular is going to mean if they didn't have a course about it at school. So those kind of experiences can be valuable as well on an application.
All right, so Chris had just kind of touched on this a moment ago. Let's talk a little bit about test scores. Do applicants for STEM majors need to submit SAT or ACT scores? And what about SAT subject tests, the SAT2? Let's go in reverse order. That way, Matt, you're not always last.
I was getting ready to just copy everybody else's comments throughout the day. So TCNJ, much like Rowan, is going to be test optional this year, and that's going to be for every program we offer except for our 7-year accelerated medical program. That's the only one we're still going to require test scores for. It is test optional, which means if a student is really happy with their scores, we are happy to receive them. But our goal this year is to really not use them at all as part of our admissions criteria. We're really gonna, we don't want to penalize those students who are unable to take the test or are unable to take another test because of what's happening with COVID. So for us, that transcript has kind of gained in value, and the other factors that we typically look at in an application will also increase a little bit more as the scores go away. So yeah, that's how we're going to handle scores. And we never required SAT2s, but this year, of course, it's even less important in that process.
Right, sorry folks, just had to turn my camera off just for a moment. For Rutgers New Brunswick, actually and for all of the Rutgers campuses, we are test optional, and that will be for all majors as well, even for the doctoral pharmacy program too. In terms of scholarships and honors college, those are also test optional too. So just something good to know. It's not going to hold you back in any way. And similar to Matt was saying for TCNJ, we don't require SAT2s, and certainly not for this year when it's a little harder.
Yeah, so echoing on what Matt and Jenna have also said, we were test optional in the past, never required the SAT2 or subject test. So, same like Matt said, we don't want to penalize anybody as it relates to the program that they're interested in entering and also for scholarship purposes. But again, we will accept them. I know I've had a few students already reach out and say, I did really well in my SATs and I'm really proud of it, so I want to submit it. And I tell them, certainly send those in. We like to see that as well. It does make your application robust if you've already taken it, which is great. Also echoing what Matt said, we do require that for our accelerated BSMD program. If you're interested in that accelerated BSMD, that application should be in before December 1st. I'm trying to think. I feel like I had something else at the top of my head and I'm losing my train of thought here. And for honors as well, SAT optional. So really excited. And one thing I can say is it relates to being SAT optional is it's really important for you to take your time on that application because, it's not something you can do in a day. We're Common App. I don't know about the other schools. Most schools do use the Common App. It's not something that can be done in a day. So really give yourself time to, expand on who you are as a student. I know that I can be a little forgetful sometimes, and I'll wake up the next day and be like, man, I really should have added that on this, whatever it is I was doing. So give yourself that time so that your application is robust and really speaks to who you are as a student.
So I'm not repeating what everyone else said. We are test optional as well, but we're preparing students for their future. And because of the programs that we offer, a lot of the careers like engineering, students will eventually have to take a standardized test. In order to be a licensed engineer, you need to take a professional engineering exam. So at some point, we do prepare students for standardized tests as it relates to their career. Architecture students have to be licensed. That requires standardized testing. If you're going on to medical school or law school, you have to take the test in order to, to get into the medical school and law school. So while you're at NJIT, there will be preparation for standardized testing, even though at this time we're test optional. So we need to still see where students are as far as their ability to sit for a standardized test. So we do have test prep courses for students to get them prepared for, for their career and for later on, even though, again, as everyone said, we're test optional at this point. Academic record is always the most important thing, how you are as a student and not what you do as far as just sitting, for a test.
All right. So let's talk about applying into some of the programs. So at each of these institutions, do applicants need to apply into a certain major school, or is admissions a little bit more general? And then are students allowed to transfer between majors and schools, or is it something where they would need to be admitted for their first year? Sorry, I muted myself. Chris, I'd like to go first, since otherwise you'll never get to go first.
No problem, thank you. So when you're applying to Rowan, no, you don't have to necessarily apply into a program to be able to enter it at any other point. You are picking a major. We do have an exploratory studies major, so if you're really unsure between certain STEM majors, you can certainly do exploratory studies. I don't recommend it though for engineering. It is a really prescribed coursework. So, you know, it's not like, there's not that many electives in between that gives you that kind of flexibility, but is it impossible to transfer in? Is it impossible to kind of pick it up your sophomore year? Absolutely not. Yeah, I think I covered the question, I'm sorry.
No, not a problem, that was great, thank you. I can jump in. The reason that was kind of on my mind, Rutgers is divided into those several different colleges, into the several schools. For Rutgers, you don't have to apply specifically into a certain major, with the exception of if you were going nursing or pharmacy, since that's the only thing in those schools. You can transfer between our schools as well in majors. Similar to Rowan, it's a bit difficult to just jump into engineering. It's definitely easiest if you're coming in as a first-year student. But certainly you can either apply to transfer between Rutgers schools. You can also transfer from a county college if you're looking to start at a county college first. Fairly seamless transfer coming from those programs, whether it's in engineering or any of the other science, technology, or math fields as well.
So for TCNJ, we do have a completely undeclared option if a student wants to go that route. And like Jen and I mentioned way back at the beginning, you know, we do have this undeclared engineering option or undeclared education option. You know, some of our academic schools allow you to do an undeclared route to start. We do encourage a student, though, if they're leaning towards a program, to apply into that major directly. We do review applications by major, so we are, you know, paying attention to what the student's interested in studying. Some of our engineering programs right now are really popular, as there are many institutions, and so we do tend to have the slightly more competitive admissions process for some of those programs. One thing that we do at TCNJ is if we feel like a candidate is good for the school, but we can't squeeze them into the major that they put on the application, we do connect with them during the process and ask them if they're interested in any other areas. This becomes relevant for the sciences and engineering in particular, because, for example, last year, we just got a ton of applications for mechanical engineering, not as many for biomedical engineering. We knew some students were interested in both, and it was an opportunity for those students who truly wanted to be considered for the other one to switch their program at that point and you know, ease their chances for acceptance, basically. We don't do that for every major. We hope it doesn't apply for, you know, most applicants, but do be aware that if you apply to TCNJ, you might hear from us in that capacity. Strictly for those students that we know have lots of interests and lots of passions and might be willing to be flexible about what they want to study.
Well, we're, you know, STEM focused, Polytechnic University, so the requirements are pretty much going to be the same, but students have the opportunity to be able to kind of determine how specific they want to be when they're coming into a particular program. So for example, someone who's interested in mechanical engineering can still be able to pick up, say, computer science or computer technology, because they not only want to design the robots, but they also want to design to do the programming for the robotic arm as well. We look at students on an individual basis. So when we're looking at a student's academic record, well, our philosophy is like STEM for everyone. So even if a student isn't strong in math and science, we can look at their backgrounds. And I think Matt had mentioned that, you know, looking at extracurriculars and you know, what they are participating in to see where the student's strengths are. Because if a student, say, isn't strong in math and science, that they want to do mechanical engineering, we can talk to them about mechanical engineering technology, where it's more hands-on and it's not as theory-based or math and science heavy. So because we're looking at students individually, we can work with them to find the right fit. So that way, every student, in a sense, has an opportunity to be able to go into a STEM career And we also encourage students to consider the community college if they were not able to get the background that they needed in high school. And, you know, with all the schools, you know, having the partnerships with the community colleges definitely helps. But yeah, students can mix and match. There's major and specializations in all of the programs. Students can do undeclared, but because we're working with students on an individual basis, we can kind of look at their background, have a conversation, see where your, you know, where your focus is, and then we can bring you into that program.
All right, so I'm going to jump in just for a couple student questions because we have them rolling in. I want to make sure we leave plenty of time for that. So the first one, hello, I'm interested in the medical field. Are there any programs that you offer for students that want to be in the pre-med undergraduate area?
And there's a question right before that one too.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just didn't scroll all the way up. Okay, I will grab that one next. I'm sorry, I think it scrolled down because I got the fifth one. Apologize, guys. We will go back to that, I promise.
I can start, yeah?
Good.
Okay, so for all of our programs, again, all math and science based, so students can pretty much use any of our programs for pre-med. Even our history is the history of science, technology, and medicine. So we want students to, again, be able to choose an area that they're most interested in, because since we have partnerships with the medical schools and through our honors college, we have over 90% placement into medical school. We want students to pick the major that they can be successful in. So it doesn't have to be biology. They can still do pre-med in any of our programs. So if a student decides they want to do biomedical engineering because that is where their passion lies, they can do biomedical engineering and then be able to go on to medical school. So the partnerships definitely make a difference, because then the students can do shadowing, get experience. All of that is really important in preparation for medical school. Hope that answered. I feel like.
Yeah, that was great. I love that you said that, because I just had a conversation with a student who, most students feel that they have to do biological sciences. And while that's a great major, because it does cover a lot of ground, we have students who, honestly, and I know this is STEM focused, we've had students who were in music and theater who moved on to go into medical school. So you really have a lot of options. Now, say you do choose to do something, you know, non-science, you definitely would want to pick up this pre-med concentration and work with an advisor. I know this is so important. You need to work with an advisor, someone who's going to help you strategically pick your courses so that you are getting, you know, prepared for taking the MCAT and moving into med school and being competitive when you apply to med schools. So for Rowan, biological sciences is very popular. I tend to like to push students towards the molecular and cellular biosciences. That's a really great program. Biochemistry is also really great. And also we have a health advising office. So you want to check with your school, make sure that they have, you know, you might get an advisor who's going to help you with certain classes, but there may be a pre-med focused health advising office who they're going to offer you different opportunities to meet with different med schools and also make sure that your journey to applying for med school is a smooth one.
For Rutgers, very similar to Rowan and NJIT, same idea. You could technically major in anything you like. We've also seen those folks that are in the arts. Certainly, we've seen engineers as well. That's a tough road, a lot of classwork there, but it certainly can be done. And then similar to the other schools as well, we have a health professions office that works with our students who want to go into either medical school, dental school, anything along those lines, and they'll work with you from your very first semester. So they'll help you with the course selection, they'll help you with preparing for MCATs, for example. So a lot of different supports there and a lot of different options. Whichever way you want to go, really you can still be a medical student as well.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. Yeah, same idea. Any major you want to study, you can go pre-med. I think all of us are very deliberate about not having pre-med as a major because we want you to explore whatever your passions are academically. And TCNJ also offers a biomedical career advisory council made up of students and faculty to assist you with all the MCAT prep, interview prep, everything you need to do to get into med school.
All right, so the first question, the one that I had missed, could you please share your policy and capability to accommodate students with special needs? I can jump in for Rutgers. We have a disability services office on campus that works with all of our students to set up accommodations. That could really be anything from extra time on tests, for example, to different testing environments, different coursework. Sometimes we'll see students who maybe need an audio textbook as opposed to a written textbook as well. We work with them on that too. Note takers as well seem to be very, very common too. So we are absolutely open to working with students on that with that entire office, the disability services.
Yeah, I imagine all of our campuses have something like that. It's probably called something different on each campus. But I know for most institutions, the important thing to realize is that it really is on the student to take the ownership of connecting with that office and getting what accommodations you need. A lot of times colleges wait until a student's been admitted before they can formally start coming up with accommodations, but definitely check our websites about what those offices entail and how you can start getting in touch with folks. The other thing to keep in mind too with this kind of question is finding out about the class sizes and how much faculty interaction you're going to have in the classroom can go a long way, because the smaller your classes, the more likely your professor is going to be able to work with you one-on-one to also provide support even beyond what's in that disability resource center that a campus might offer.
Right, thank you. That's a great point. Sorry, Debbie, did you have something to say too? I didn't want to jump in.
Oh no, I was just going to say Matt pretty much covered the question.
Perfect. So we are going to jump into an NJIT specific one. Is it possible to apply to the NJIT Honors College later on in the year and not with a common application?
Yes, most definitely. Anytime before the junior year, students can apply to the Albert Dorman's Honors College as long as you meet the GPA requirements. Definitely recommend that if you are not applying as a high school student to meet with the Honors College during your freshman year, participate in activities honors related, so that way you can get to know the advisors and get to know the students. You want to make sure that you start networking. That's totally important for the Honors College. So yes, anytime before your junior year, as long as you meet the GPA requirements and you want to connect with the Honors College prior to applying.
Right, thank you. So next one, this one's pretty specific. For all the colleges, are the physics courses calculus or algebraic based? Don't hold me to this answer, but I'm almost positive our courses are calculus based. That being said, you can check, I would imagine all of our catalogs are online, and I'm sure you could check both the physics website and then also the course catalog for more information.
This was the question that made me wish I wasn't a history major, because I didn't realize you could be algebraic or calculus based with this. So, but yeah, it seems like calculus is the main one for my quick check on it.
Yeah, the physics is calculus based, and I know that's for some students, the AP physics in high school will vary because they may have the algebraic AP and then they also have the calculus based one. So I think if you're taking an AP course, definitely find out whether it's algebraic or calculus based, because when you start in STEM programs, the physics that you take will be calculus based. And it's calculus based, for a reason. You all want to be astronauts, so you need to know that.
All right, so the next question, how many STEM majors can we apply for? Are we allowed to apply for multiple majors at the schools and then choose which major to go into after admissions receiving results? After receiving admissions results, I would imagine.
So I'll start. Rowan, you can only apply for one major, but there are some majors engineering, for instance, that we ask you to pick a second non-engineering major in case that, you know, that program, it is competitive, like I said. So if you don't happen to get into that program, we will offer you admission into your second choice program. But for all other programs, you do choose one major. We do have some students who middle of application season say, hey, I think I'm changing my mind, which is a possibility. You can just reach out to us and we'll be able to make that change for you if that's possible.
Same thing for NJIT. We ask that students choose one major, and then we do ask them for a second choice. Some students have second and third choices. It is really helpful because there are times where if a student is not qualified for their first choice, it allows us to look at the other choices that they have to see which one they would be more qualified for. Again, because we work with students on an individual basis, we can, you know, contact the student and let them know, and then we can go over what it is they're interested in so that we can let them know, well, you might want to consider this major, or maybe come in undeclared until you get the solid foundation that you need for that particular major, and then you can switch into the major.
Yeah, same for us. The only thing I will say that's a little different for TCNJ versus what Debbie just said is we actually don't encourage the students to do undeclared, only because our undeclared program is actually pretty small and yet gets a lot of applications. So if a student is kind of 50-50 and they're potentially leaning towards, you know, an engineering or science area, we actually tell them apply into that first. And then if they don't get in, we can talk about their alternate options. But sometimes it's actually trickier to go into the undeclared route later if they don't have that picked first.
For Rutgers, our students are applying into schools as opposed to the specific majors. So you can apply into 3 of the schools. So you could apply, for example, into engineering, arts and sciences, and environmental and biological sciences. We do ask you to indicate your first and second choice for majors, just academic interest, but that doesn't actually play a role in terms of your admissions, but it's just school-based for that. And you'll receive separate admissions decisions for each of the schools. All right, so the next question, which of your schools have accelerated BS to MD programs?
All. I think we all mentioned, yeah, we all have accelerated BSMD programs. It may be the difference as far as like the major students get to choose. Again, since all of our programs are math and science based, students can choose majors other than biology to do the accelerated BSMD program. Our programs are with schools in New Jersey, New Jersey Medical School, but we also have programs with schools outside of New Jersey and outside of the US. So we have an extensive list of schools that students can do the accelerated or the joint programs for BSMD, and multiple majors for students to choose.
All right, so the next question, we're going to talk about homeschooling. It says, hi, I'm homeschooled. I'm going to be graduating with 51 college credits. Congratulations, by the way, that's fantastic. Credits in math and computer science. I'm wondering if I'll be able to transfer these credits. Interested in a computer science major.
So I'm actually glad that came up with the homeschool, because I totally missed this part. At Rowan, if you are homeschooled, we will be requiring the SAT scores. So that is one population that you do need to submit SAT scores. But I think it's wonderful that you've already completed college credits. Go you, you are way ahead. And one thing I can speak for New Jersey as a whole is that New Jersey is a very transfer-friendly state. So I'm so proud to be part of New Jersey and part of an institution that makes it really easy for students to start getting ahead in their college credits, whether they're doing those CAP courses or, just finish school early and we're able to take some courses. So long story short, yes, we will take those credits. What happens is once you apply, you'll need to, submit an official transcript through that institution to us so that it gets officially evaluated through our registrar's office, and then you'll know how those credits have transferred.
And the only thing I would add to that is that sometimes the only exception for an institution is if it's the first course in your major. A lot of time the school wants you to take that course with their faculty regardless of how you might have done an AP exam or what college credit. You'll probably still earn some elective credit for that course, but the attitude sometimes is no matter how great that course was at the local school, they still want you to be with your new peer group in your major kind of right from the get-go. So just be aware that there might be some occasional exceptions for that.
The other thing that I would add to that, if you had taken your college courses at a local county college, another good resource is NJ Transfer. You go to njtransfer.org. You can enter the school that you took the credits at and then the school that you're looking at transferring to. This will work with any New Jersey school, whether it's public or private, and it will give you a good general idea of how your courses will transfer. I do say a general idea because it may be slightly different. I know as Matt was noting, it could come in as either an elective or they may want you just to take the course again. Always check with your admissions office, but a really good resource there. All right, I'm going to combine a couple questions because we had a few students asking about this. Let's talk about research opportunities. We have some folks who are asking specifically about engineering and others that are more general, just internships and or research opportunities available to first-year students.
Okay, well, we are an R1 top-tier research university. That's just what we do. Every single major at NJIT has its own research center or lab, again, specialty school. So pretty much all of our majors, the question was specific to engineering. So all of our engineering majors, and we have all fields of engineering and specializations within all of those. So all of the engineering majors have their own research facility. So if a student comes in and they want to do research, they can partner with a professor or a department. If they have an idea for an invention, or if you're innovative, we offer grants for students to be able to do research and get funding. And the research facilities are there. Probably everyone we have a makerspace. So students can go into the makerspace and all of the equipment, the machinery that they need to do their research, they can do it in the makerspace, and that's for every single major. So yes, every semester, notification is sent out to the students to put proposals together for research, or if you want to partner with a professor for any of the majors, since we are a research and project-based university, you're going to be able to do research in every single major at NJIT, even management.
All right, looks like everyone's probably kind of on the same page. Yeah. All right. So the first thing I just want to say, so that we don't have anybody worried, we will have a list of all of the questions. So if we don't get to your question today, we will be contacting you as well. So don't worry if we don't hit it. We will absolutely be reaching out to you afterwards to make sure that that question is answered. The next question we had, do you have anything for a more multimedia STEM direction? So my first thought on the Rutgers side, for multimedia, we have a digital filmmaking program that is very technology computer based, obviously, and then also our design program as well that incorporates both web programming, that has mobile app design as well. That tends to be where most of our multimedia studies are falling within our School of Art, not School of Art Design, it's our School of the Arts.
Yeah, at Rowan, we have a biomedical visualization program, which is fairly new. It's within its 5th year at Rowan. And it is a combination of our art program, digital art, and our biology program, really unique program.
TCNJ offers an interactive multimedia major, which is really for students thinking about things like video game design. We actually have a bunch of students who've been interning with things like Pixar, you know, for that kind of animation experience. So that kind of was where we put all of our multimedia eggs in that basket.
We have a communication and media within the College of Science and Liberal Arts. It covers all aspects of communication and media as well. And of course, it is STEM focused. The video game design, that is within digital design and can be a specialization within any of our majors. But most students, when they say they want to do anything with media, it's through the communication and media program.
All right, so we have 1 minute left, which is crazy. Last thing, does anyone have any just advice for these students that are interested in pursuing the STEM fields?
When I talk to students, I always, and I'm going to try to talk really quick, and I'm really good at that. I always tell students, if you're really in between certain careers, you'd be surprised at how helpful people in those careers actually are, and they would love to chat with you. So I always say, talk to some people, ask to shadow them, get some questions ready for them, ask them, or get to spend the day with them so you get to see the day-to-day, because I know some people who have blindly went into careers and just weren't happy. So it's always nice to kind of get, the real deal day-to-day from that person.
That is some great advice to end us off. If they did not get to your question, no worries. They will follow up with you later on this week when they get those questions back. I'm going to share some of the last few housekeeping things before you guys head out. When you leave this webinar, there will be a quick 4-question survey just for you to fill out really quickly. And I encourage you to sign up for more sessions. There's going to be more sessions throughout the next 2 weeks. For this virtual college exploration. So you can go to njACAC.org/virtual fair to sign up for some more of those. And this recording will be available at that same website. So if you want to reference it again, feel free to. But thank you guys all for joining and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.